You had some bodies out there today. William Karlsson in a regular colored sweater, Shea Theodore in a red non-contact sweater. Lavoie was out there. It looked like a training camp skate.
It was good to see everyone out there. It's hard to manage your line rush drills when you get that much, so you have to design practice a little differently. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have lots of bodies out there, and especially a guy like Theo that unfortunately got hurt at Four Nations. Right, he's been kind of on his own here for a while. Carly had long stretches on his own, so I think the guys that's. I mean, I used to. It's tough when you're skating by yourself. It can get to you mentally. You know, it's a grind. You got to put the time in, but it's good to be around your teammates.
So do you start envisioning what your lines will look like with William Karlsson, or do you wait? Are you superstitious and you don't want to do that until he's cleared?
No, I had him today actually. Like he went on the road last week, and his plan wasn't to play. It would have been a bonus if he did, but he needed to be around the guys, and we had some practice time. He could do that. But he's playing today. He was with Riley Smith, and Nick Waugh was on his right, who's typically a center. So we may look at that. We did that in the playoffs a few years ago, and we liked it. So if he's able to play later this week, he's trending that way. I'm not saying he will or won't, because that'll be the medical and his call. But I looked at that line today. So
how close is Theodore?
He's in a red jersey, so he's still a ways away, but he's with us. So one more step would be get him in a normal color, get him contact. So usually when you get into red, it's a week, maybe two at the most that they need to be in that. But that's a guess. That's a guess.
Yeah. So go back to the night of the injury. You're standing behind the bench as a member of the Team Canada coaching staff, and you realize that one of your Knights is gone down. How do you flick the switch between being the Knights coach and the Team Canada coach in a situation like that?
Well, it's a double whammy for both coaches, because he's out, so you lose a guy from your roster, and your rosters are limited there. As you know, we had to fly guys in that weren't originally there. And now you're waiting to see the severity of his injury. Is he back? Is it day to day, or is he going to miss time? And you get the bad news. And so it was tough on both fronts. The toughest part about the Team Canada was for him, the player, right? This isn't a great experience for the players. They're doing it. I believe most of them they're in the moment, but they're also thinking ahead a year, John, to the Olympics. That's the big nugget for them. And Theo plays out west, so you guys tell me what you think of like his perception around hockey. Is he, because he doesn't get seen as much as other players? I think he'd be a great fit on that team and is well deserving. But there's a lot. I don't know if that's the case out east. If people argue for a different player because they don't get to see him that much. So it's his opportunity. I guess where I'm going with this is to shine in front of everyone, and he loses it in the first game and the first shift of the second period or whatever it was. It was early, so. For him, an opportunity lost, even though he can do it for, 30 more games this year in the playoffs, and then next year up to the Olympics, it would have been an opportunity there to leave a great impression, because he was playing as good as he's ever played. So I felt sorry for the person, much more than us losing him in Vegas. You go through injuries all the time, you replace players, but for him, it was a tough one to take, because I think he was going to play really well and open some eyes.
It's funny. I actually think, and I don't know, you guys can both weigh in. I think Vegas gets better treated by the East than most of the Western-based teams, just because of the relative success the franchise has had since it showed up. So there's a lot more awareness, I think, of the Golden Knights, say, than the LA Kings or Utah. And so when people talk about watching the late game, more people watch the Knights than watch anybody else.
Well, that's good to hear. That is really good to hear. It means we're doing something, right? So
well, and your building's fun to watch, man.
It's fantastic to be in too. I tell everybody, listen, I'm a hockey junkie in different rinks, and you got to come see a game here once just to be in the atmosphere. And I'm not saying that just because I work for the Knights. That's obviously a lot to do with it. But if you're a hockey guy, it's like the anthem at Chicago Stadium, right? Back in the day,
yeah.
You had to see it and live it. And I think our games it's And people that do come here that visit from out of town will say the same thing, that, you know, they're here to see whoever. Maybe they're from Chicago or got friends in Boston. I'm sure they'll be here this week and taking in a game and making a weekend of it, and they'll love it. They'll love the environment.
Yeah, I say it's like a
TD
nightclub.
Garden was like that. TD Garden was like that for me. Still is. I love watching games at TD Garden. It's still got a great atmosphere.
Oh, it does. And the fans are, listen, they know hockey, they're into it, and I think they do a good job. But you know, when the team's going there, like, it's loud. It's really, like, I would tell people the other place I find loud is Carolina. Go see a game in Carolina. It is one of the louder build. I don't know if it's acoustics, it's the fan base, it's whatever, but you know, the team's good, that helps, but it's a loud building.
A lot made about the environment, the Four Nations in Montreal, and then moving on to TD Garden for the championship. What was one or two personal takeaways that you had, memories that you experienced?
Mario Lemieux came into our room in Montreal before, was it the first game? We played twice.
Yeah.
And, you know, I played against him in Memorial Cup a long, long time ago, but I never played with him or crossed paths with him. So it was great to meet him and just listen to him talk hockey. And then Gretzky in the last game came into the room and wished the guys luck and read the opening lineup and was there after telling stories. So to me, around legends of the game, right? So those were two of the, you know, the things that I really enjoyed. I was fortunate in Boston. I got to know Bobby Orr and Ray Bourque. So when I had my cup party, they both came. I invited both of them and Zdeno, because all the you know, like, even though it's Vegas, I did it in Boston, and they were guys that I emulated and idolized and all those words growing up, and they made it. So it was awesome. So I'd been able to have a little bit of a relationship with them, but I'd never crossed paths with Mario and Wayne, and those guys. I mean, they're the elite of the elite. So I thought that was, you know, one of the best memories. And then being on the ice after was kind of cool, because there was a lot of Canadians in the building in Boston. So you know, we did that when we won the cup, right? Everybody does. You stay on the ice after. Well, it's not the cup, but it was kind of a cool experience that you're out there and the guys are lifting a trophy and there's fans, and you know what I mean? And that was that's probably the second takeaway from that, was just a little celebration after.
Did you tell Mario that you beat him at the Memorial Cup?
No, I didn't get into it, but we did, and we won. You may or may not remember. So I let it go.